he's either clinically insane for saying that, or perhaps you shouldn't walk past it. A presidential rally with a chart that says that he left office on April 1st. It's like, um, that's the kind of typographical error if you're staff that gets you fired. You don't show up with that chart at every rally and bring attention to it. So I feel like now's the time to talk about things that I probably wouldn't have done 2 years ago, because I was always so concerned about a passive posture that we're just waiting for our saviors. But I think now I think you're right. I already think that the boomerangs started. When you look at Bolton and Comey and Letitia James and Fannie Willis and some of the orchestrators over at Antifa and BLM, the boomerang's already been in effect. People have been arrested. People have been indicted. And it's only going to increase. You saw the altercation with John Brennan, where he's physically poking a guy in the chest that was confronting him about his manipulation of the Crossfire Hurricane hoax, and what was going on there. And he looks like a guy that knows that his days are numbered, because they are. Yeah. So, what a time.
If you had to pick, what do you think is going to happen first? The end of the Fed or fixing the election system?
Wow. I don't know. My heart's with elections as kind of the primary end goal. And so it might come down to an idea of, because it is the worst subversion of our country that I can think of, that you save that for last, and you just continue to work towards something as you expose corruption in all of its different ways. But the Fed, I see the Fed as kind of being part and parcel to the perception theater, because every rigged, corrupt infrastructure has to have a financier.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have talked about Trump presiding over bankrupting the corporation. A lot of people talked about 1871. And, one of the things that I didn't bring up in my third term video was that thesis of what happens if you restore the republic. What happens to the idea of term limits? Could Trump just enter into his first term as part of a restored republic? And I want people to know I have given it thought. I did not put that in the video explicitly, because I think that the continuity of government argument, which is in the video, really gives you the wedge to explore that. But my problem is that 99% of the population has no idea about continuity of government being a possibility. And I don't think it's a possibility. I truly believe that it was triggered. That's the only way that you can explain the bizarre things that we've seen over the past 5 years. And it really does open up a series of doors where you can seriously treat Trump's action over the past 10 years as the continuation of a single term. Because if continuity of government was initiated on April 1st, 2020, what happens? When does your term end is the question that's asked. And it's really when you restore and go back to a place where you didn't have to have a shadow government in place. And I'm confessing, I don't know the mechanism on how to end that. But in theory, that tells you that he didn't enjoy a second term. So one of the things that I talk about in that video is, okay, if part of the operation is to reverse engineer this thing that Yuri Bezmenov talked about, the 4 stages of subversion, where you moralize a nation and you create stability and you solve crises and there's accountability. If you really want to take it to its logical end and really awaken the American people, you probably need to expose that this, in fact, was the greatest Psy-op in history, and it would have to be. But if part of the plan is, I don't think that the American people will buy into how incredible this operation is, then for optics, you go through the 22nd Amendment approach, because it's something that we know, that we can touch, that history has had something to do with. And so in some ways, I felt like that video was really more for the normies than it was for people that I think are seeing the problem much more clearly. And I might do a follow-up video on this idea of bankrupting the corporation. But you really start getting into areas where it's truly speculative. And I don't like doing that. I mean, like, it's fun for about a second, but it's like, you don't want to speak on something as if you really do have the down low. And the receipts from where I stand aren't there to show that maybe Trump isn't here to deal with the abuse of our nation going back 150 years. I mean, at some point, okay, is he going to solve literally every constitutional defect that we've faced? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but that would be a heavy lift.